So growing up fishing, I understand that not everybody owns a bass boat or a boat in general, and that some of you guys go out bank fishing. I did it for a really long time, and what I'm going to talk about today is some of my favorite bank fishing baits for this time of year, the fall into the winter period, and how they can help you catch more fish and stay out of the bottom and off of the tree limbs and whatnot. And so hopefully this will help you guys catch more fish, but stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this one. So probably the hardest thing to do as a bank fisherman is find baits that you like that are going to catch fish, but that you also aren't going to lose. Because as a bank fisherman, you're very limited to getting baits back when they get stuck on the bottom or they get stuck on tree limbs out in the water. And sometimes you end up having to break off really expensive baits. I know myself personally, I have swam into many a lake after mega bass jerk baits and, 6 cents crankbaits and all these expensive baits. So the baits that I want to talk about today are cheap, they're very snag free, and they catch a lot of fish and they catch big fish, right? And so the first one we're going to talk about for this time of year is going to be a spinnerbait. Spinnerbait is your best friend because it has the tendency to go over wood instead of roll into wood. And I specifically like this spinnerbait because this is a Z-Man spinnerbait, and if you look at the head design, it has a wide bottom head and a very triangular pointed head, and so that way it tends to go over instead of roll. It keels very nicely. You can put a bunch of different trailers on there to speed it up, slow it down. If I want it to go faster, I'll put like a split tail trailer on it. If I want it to go slower, I'll put a paddle tail on it. But it does a great job because you can fish it at varying depths just by slowing it down. You can also speed it up to get it to go shallower. You can fish it in a foot of water. You can fish it in 30 feet of water. Just depends on how you react with this bait. And you can also throw it on almost any type of rod and still catch fish on it because when they hit it, they knock the slack into this bait. So spinnerbait is my #1 go-to for this time of year because typically if I'm bank fishing, I'm fishing ponds, I'm fishing rivers. Lakes are a little bit tougher, but you still have the opportunity to catch fish in a lake. So that is bait #1. Bait #2 is going to be everybody's favorites, and that is swim baits. But I do a little bit different rigging to these swim baits. I rig them on a weedless style jig head, whether it be a flashy swimmer or a trocar belly weighted swim bait. And the reason that I like to belly weight my swim baits is because once you belly weight a swim bait, it automatically makes it pretty much almost snag proof. You can throw it anywhere, you can catch fish in clear water, and again, you can fish it deep, you can fish it shallow, and it catches a lot of fish. And if you lose one, they're like $5 for a pack of 6 or 7 of them, and you're only down a hook. You're not down a whole lot of investment into it. So I have one rigged right here. You can see once you have that rigged, it is like I'm barely dragging my finger over that, and now that goes through almost any type of cover, and it does a great job at catching a ton of fish. I like the Kitech Fat Swing Impact is a really hard one to beat. The Divine swim baits, the 6 cents whale swim baits, those are some really great options. And again, you can throw these on the exact same rod that you throw that spinnerbait with, so they pair really well together. And they work, again, in every situation, pond, lake, river. They catch fish no matter what the situation is, and they catch big fish too. So that's another personal favorite of mine. The last bait that I'm going to talk about is going to be a jig. And it's going to be a jig for a few different reasons. The first of which, again, I can fish it in a foot of water. I can fish it in 50 feet of water. I can put a couple different trailers on there to change the action. I can put a flapping style trailer, or better yet for this time of year, I can put some of these beaver style trailers on there with flat appendages that slow that bait down. I don't like to fish Ned rigs. I don't like to fish drop shots. I don't like to fish anything with an open hook if I'm bank fishing because that's honestly just asking you to lose money. A jig is going to catch just as many fish, a little bit bigger fish, and I can throw it in a lot of different places. Because let's face it, you're not going to catch fish if you're breaking baits off constantly in the water. So if I have that jig on there, I can pitch it along the bank beside me where I'm at. I can swim it along the bank. And this is a 6 cents Divine hybrid swim bait or jig. So it works good for a swim jig and just a regular bottom hopping style jig. It has that nice pointed style head on it, but it's still round enough that it's going to go over wood, through laydowns, through rock really well. And that's why I like to throw this bait. And I like to pair it with Z-Man plastics because then I have to carry less trailers on me. I can get 2 trailers, and you can see this palmetto bug is going to hold up forever. That's my favorite thing when it comes to fishing from the bank, is having to carry less gear. If you're carrying all kinds of different trailers and all kinds of different baits, it slows you down, it makes it harder to fish. And again, you can fish this on the same 7-foot medium heavy rod that you were fishing the spinnerbait with and the Swimbait with. You can get away with it. Fishing 15-pound P-line tactical fluorocarbon, you're good to go. You know, you don't have to pair it with a whole lot of different baits, and you can also fish it with the same reel. So making yourself the most adaptable as a bank fisherman and carrying the least amount of gear is going to help you in the long run, because you still have to cover water, right? Even if like you were out in a boat, you still cover water. Same thing when you're bank fishing, but the difference is when I'm in my boat, I have gear stored, versus when you're bank fishing, you have to carry it with you. So I like to have baits that I can put a couple things in my pocket and then just go to work. And a jig, a swim bait, and a spinnerbait is going to be just that. I can keep a couple spinnerbaits, I can keep a couple packs of swim baits with a pack of hooks, which is super, super sleek. Throw it in my pocket, couple trailers, couple jigs, I'm good to go. That's easily backpack storage proof. So if you guys like that video, be sure to check out this video where I break down what I use a medium heavy bass fishing rod for, or bait casting rod for, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, follow along with what I got going on. But God bless you guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.